What's up? This is one of the most funny and necessary streams that I've seen in quite some time. I say funny because I laugh throughout this stream. I thoroughly enjoy confrontation, and I thoroughly enjoy when you have guys like these here on the left hand side in Sharpness Prime and Bug Nice absolutely lose it with a guy like Talker Art. I think it's hilarious. I think what's also very interesting about this is that it is a necessary thing to have happened in the toy community. Listen, the toy community has become very soy-minded over the last number of years, and that's thanks to the likes of Sharpness Prime and Bug Nice and other people that are out there that are the grinning salesmen that don't tell the truth, paper over the cracks. And that's why a lot of people appreciate Talker Art, and I appreciated Talker Art. And Talker Art came to my attention with how he was being talked about by other YouTubers that were leftists, that were shilling companies. And I said to myself, I wonder what's going on with that guy. And I started to check out his videos. And I have to be honest with you, I absolutely loved him. He's an absolute G. And I'm telling you that he's a G because this is a fella that looked death in the eye and said, no thanks, I'm not having that right now. I'm going back to do what I'm doing here on Earth. Unbelievable stuff. And that's what I find funny about the likes of Snots here. Snots thinks that Talker's going to be afraid of him. Listen, mate, Talker literally looked death in the eye and came back. Do you honestly think he's going to be afraid of you? I don't think so. But the necessary nature of this stream is important because I would say between 90 to 95% of the chat were doing this. They were all on Talker's side. A lot of well wishes going his way, a lot of support for him, and he didn't even have to say that much. All we saw was an implosion from Bug Nice throughout this stream. Multiple times he said things that people just looked at it and said, is he hearing what he's saying? Does he understand what he's saying? I don't think he does. But let's start with Sharpness Prime. Sharpness Prime, if I was Talker Art, and Talker Art might disagree, Sharpness Prime wouldn't be considered any friend of mine after this stream at all. Now, that's got nothing to do with the fact that Bug was trying to play on him and say, hey, you know, we're friends and you stayed over in my place. A bit weird that now, you know what I mean? He was a bit upset about the Kendall gay joke that was made by Talker Art. He was a bit upset by that. And then he started talking about another dude staying in his house and then talking about the dude staying in his house and he wasn't there. I was like, this is strange. Is this guy hearing this at all? Very odd. Anyway, Sharpness Prime's face dropped, he did as well, when he said that about him staying in his house. I thought that was absolutely hilarious. But this image sums it up, where you have Sharpness Prime with the head in the hands, and then you have this guy mounting off and Talker smiling. Classic. Because Talker really gets to these people. He says things as it is. And Sharpness Prime is a guy that, to me, puts on a facade. And that's why this was on Rust Toy Reviews. It wasn't on Sharpness Prime's main channel, because I think he still wanted to maintain the facade. I think Sharpness Prime, for whatever other people think about him, I think he's somewhat of a clever individual. I wouldn't say the guy is an absolute genius or anything like that, but I think he's reading the tea leaves when it's coming to things, and I think he's realising with all of the comments that he gets on his videos, particularly when people are calling him a shill and stuff like that, and that's definitely mentally affected him. You could see that in some of the videos earlier in the year, and that's why you got an interview like you did with the Hasbro team when Dan Young had his panties in a twist there and was firing back then at Sharpness Prime. So much so that Dan Young actually commented in the video comments and said, oh, it's all but nothing but love. You know, good boy, you do what you're told. And Sharpness Prime, of course, then was straight in to say, yes, no problem as well. And I'm saying in the comments there, these guys are talking about toys as if they're working for NASA or something like that. It's ridiculous. Like, people want X-Men's Angel. When are we going to get X-Men's Angel? Oh, we can't tell you that. We don't know. Plans. Stay tuned. Pins, pinless, who knows? We don't know what we're going to do. Cost. Anybody want to talk about the fact that Bug Nice was talking about the fact that Donald Trump was someone that people supported? I'm just going to say this to you here now, as a foreigner, as an Irishman. Toys were cheaper when Donald Trump was running things. Your dude is running things right now, and things are more expensive. Maybe that's why that doesn't bother you. Maybe it bothers you though when people call you a shill, because are you being sent free product? Because you're not worried about the prices then, are you? I know Sharpness Prime recently has been saying, oh, the prices. But a lot of people are questioning that. A lot of people, by the way, question Bug Nice, and they question him on his figure raffles. And they say, what's going on there? You're putting out a toy that's something like, someone commented, say, around $100, and then they're saying he's selling a lot of tickets that make up more than $100. I don't know about that. Is that true, Bug? I'm not sure. What about when people are saying on the likes of Reddit as well, because you didn't deny that in any of the chat as well too, that you're selling Snap, Crackle and Pop? Like, what's the story with that? Is that something that you did do? I mean, are you going to deny that at all, or are you just going to let the claims on Reddit fly? I don't know about you, but there's some hefty allegations there, Bug. And then you have the neck, Bug, to come out and say to Talker the things that you were saying. You know full well, and I'm going to just school a couple of you people that are out there that don't understand. You know full well the way the media treated Donald Trump over the last number of years. And the fact that Bug tries to call people Trumpists. Now, this is something that he's aimed at. And by the way, he was very astute in the way he spoke, because he was carefully talking about the screenshots that Torger Art was sent. Now, I'm in the group. I know what the group is. It's a Facebook group for the 3POA podcast. And Bug did everything in his power to not mention the 3POA podcast. Now, the 3POA podcast, which is something that Talker brought up throughout the stream, and this stopped Bug in his tracks. When Talker mentioned about him being a certain way, about white people, Bug panicked. His hands were visibly shaking. He got emotional. I mean, he already emotes like a female anyway, but he got even more emotional because Bug was afraid then with the way that the direction of the conversation was going. Because here's the thing, people are now starting to realise what's going on. Bug running out playing the victim, and then he's meanwhile mudslinging at guys like Talker and the 3POA. One of the 3POA is a guy that lives in Australia and is originally from England, and he's calling him a Trumpist. And so what if they like Donald Trump? Like I said, toys were cheaper under Donald Trump. Where's the lie in that? That's not a lie. But what Bug is inadvertently trying to do, and I'll talk about this in a political sense, because the media have done this too. They've cultivated this way of thinking. When you're labelled a Trump supporter, they're inadvertently trying to label you as a racist. And Talker Art is very intelligent, and he knows this. And this is what he said in the stream. And of course then you've got Shilly McShillerson over here that's turning around and saying, no, calling him a Caucasian isn't against his race. He's literally said that. And if you were talked about, if beforehand in this stream, if he had made a comment about him being black this or black that, you would have been the first person to go, whoa, guys, whoa. This is the whole thing. You see the irony in that statement? Do you see the hypocrisy in that statement? I mean, I was shocked that Bug wasn't asking for reparations during this stream. I really was. Because he was churning out all the leftist stuff. Dog whistles, supporters, people ganging. And I'm looking at him going, like, this guy is off the Richter scale here. He doesn't know what he's talking about. This guy is just parroting CNN. First of all, as well too, I'm not going to say first of all, I suppose I'll come back and say something that's just drawing my attention right now. Why are all these fellas wearing hats indoors? What's the story with that? Taking shots at everyone here. Why is all wearing hats indoors? I know an awful lot of other YouTubers that do it too. I don't understand that now for the life of me. But anyway, that's just taking my attention away from that. But then you have Bug then asking Talker twice during the stream, point blank, are you handicapped? So hang on. Bug is upset about Talker talking about things and making certain jokes about men, and you know what I'm saying, the LGBT community that Bug is really a defendant of. He's a super defender of the LGBT community, and so is Shartimus Prime. Great stuff, lads. About 4% of the population, and probably even less than that, that actually buys toys. Fantastic idea, guys, to shill for a niche market there. Great stuff, wonderful, absolutely stellar stuff here. But everybody else that's on the other side of the fence there, I'd say the large majority, Talker's like, I'm happy. And there's people that follow my channel and watch my channel as well as Talker, Stargate, are like, you're calling it like it is, and they agree. So this whole thing of, I'm going to insert myself, and this is the problem with leftists, it is, I'm going to insert myself as the arbiter of everybody. I'm going to be a defender of the LGBT community. I'm going to tell you that blacks don't like Trump. Have you seen the group called Blacks for Trump by any chance? Have you seen what Joe Biden said to Charlemagne? Did you see when he said to Charlemagne, if you don't vote for me and you vote for Trump, you ain't black? Did you see that? Have you seen some of the comments that Joe made in the past? Now, I know Bugger might try and get out of this one and might say, well, I'm actually a libertarian. And look, if you are, that's what you're in for. But I have a sneaking suspicion with the way you talk that you're probably a guy that would vote for the likes of Joe Biden. And here we are. Now, you'll never say anything, by the way. You won't say anything about Joe and the other kids that they be around, and that the fact that he likes to do a little bit of sniffing when it comes to that. You won't say anything about that, of course. No. Don't mention that. Don't mention that at all. But anyway, going back to this here, he was very upset about some of the homophobic things, according to him, that were said about people, and that got him really, really twisted. I have to say, very interesting. He mentioned he had a wife, but I think everybody looks at this and is like, hang on here, everyone has black friends, black community, what do they think of those people? Have you ever seen the comments that were made towards Kevin Hart and the comments that Kevin Hart made? Oh my god. So this guy running out there trying to shill for this group doesn't make any sense. I think he might have to have a conversation with his wife at some stage, because I don't think it's working out here. This guy might be an Elton John type character. I don't know. But certainly when you brought that up, I was just like, this dude has a wife. I was fully expecting him to say that he was gay. But anyway, Tupac over here, because this fella's the biggest gangster that's ever been on YouTube, of course. It's on site, he says, to talk art. I couldn't stop laughing. I really couldn't. This guy thinks he's Deontay Wilder, does he? Oh, stop. I have to be honest with you, it gave me a great laugh. It did this stream. But of course then, everything that he said was absolutely A-OK, but everything that Talker said wasn't A-OK. And the fact that the community has been the way it has been, insofar as it has been driven by woke lefties that are happy to push the messaging from companies, that are happy to shill for companies, they're greatly upset and affected when guys come out and say real things. They're afraid of Talker Art. They're afraid of the 3POA, hosted by Laserpants, doing a great job over there. Bobby Valla doing a fantastic job. Tony from Analog Toys as well too, doing a fantastic job. And that's coming from an Irishman, by the way. And these people, by the way, you have no idea the history between the Irish and the British. So for me to say that, that's what melts. It really is. And I'm sure Tony will look at it that way as well too. Be fair play to him. But what you have here now, I think, was a very small, and I would say even microcosm of American society in one stream that really showed everything to be what it is. You've got this guy here in the middle, offended by everything, but not afraid of offending anybody else. You've got this guy then that's saying, hey, don't say anything, let's just tiptoe around Bug here. And you've got this guy here that's going, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? And what am I saying that's any worse than what you're saying? Which is why there's a big smile on Talker Art's face. It's absolutely hilarious. But what I thought one of the funniest things was, when I saw Jordan's stream, was seeing Bug physically shake. Physically shake. The hands were moving, they were. The fella, it was like someone there that got the yips when they played darts. The hands shaking all over the place. I would have said he was like Michael J. Fox, but he might take that as a slight or something like that. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, one of the funniest streams I've seen in quite some time. I think Talker came out the ultimate winner when I came to this stream. And I would say 90 to 95% of the chat there were on Team Talker. And if anybody started the stream and was watching it and was against Talker at the beginning, none of those people were there by the end. They were like, oh, this looks really bad for Bug here. And Bug did that to himself. When these people like Bug talk about toxicity in the community, they never refer to themselves or what they do. Bug said repeatedly throughout this stream, stay in your lane, stay in your lane. That's okay for you. But that's okay for everybody else then to say, no, I'm going to jump out of my lane. I'm going to say something about something over there. Because that's how people progress. That's how people look at things and say, hey, what's going on here is wrong. Like, if everybody's calling it as it is, who's running the show at this moment in time, and what prices are action figures? Am I expecting that action figures are going to come down should it swing the other way in 2024? I don't know. I wouldn't think so. Because, listen, if I'm being honest with you, when it comes to politics, these people are all part of the same group, and you're not in it, as Gerald Celente would say. So I think everybody needs to understand that. And I know as well, if you're living in certain states, it's great. You know, I look as a foreigner and look over there and I see what Florida has done over the last number of years, and I can do nothing but admire it, because they did a good thing. So did an awful lot of the Republican states. But you see some of the blue states and they're up to clown world stuff. Bill de Blasio not too long ago eating chips and a burger from, and I say chips, Americans would be very confused about that. They'd be like, what are you talking about? He wasn't eating Doritos. He was eating French fries. There you go, Americans. I've spoken English correctly for you guys, not how we say things over here or anything like that. But anyway, sitting there eating fries and a burger. That was a blue stay. And he was like, go ahead, guys. Go ahead, guys. Oh, man. Oh, man, if you even knew. But anyway, the toy community. The toy community is something that I greatly enjoy. And like I said, talks like these need to be had. The fact that Shardimus Prime did do this, I say fair play to him. Do I think that someone else might have done a better job? Yeah. I think if Bug wasn't afraid of the 3 POA, he probably should have done it over there. I think that he was looking to play with someone that was more so on his team than he was someone that's not on his team. And I do think that the 3 POA would have given him a fair shake. I think they would have gotten things out there, and I think there wouldn't have been an awful lot of muting. I absolutely do not like when people mute other people because I feel it halts the conversation. It made Bug, I thought, even more emotional. Talker was enjoying things. And when Talker got into a flow, he was doing really well. But he kept being talked over by Bug, and then Shardimus Prime would go in and stop the conversation and then restart with another question. Typical tactics, you've seen it before. I've seen it many times before. This is something that need to have been done, though. It is pivotal now. And it's sad in a way, I would say, that Talker Art's saying that he's looking like he's going to walk away from YouTube for a little bit. I hope he doesn't. I hope he continues on doing what he's doing, because he's been a big light and a big inspiration in the toy community, because this is something that has greatly needed for the last 10 to 15 years. You scroll through YouTube and you see some of the most soy individuals then that are pushing their own politics, and when I say their own politics, leftist politics, let's be out straight when I say that. And then you've got the other side of the fence that are afraid to say anything and afraid to nail the colours to the mast. And listen, I get it with some people that they're looking to appeal to both. But when it comes to these lefties, man, these people don't see reason at all. They don't. And they see things as they are, which is teams and soils and stuff like that. And I suppose as humans, we have existed for generations that have existed in teams, in cliques, in gangs, whatever it may be. And it's just never going to end. It's never going to stop. So when people say, hey, you shouldn't talk politics, no, I'm going to talk about whatever I like. And I say fair play to Talker Art for, doing the branding stuff as well too at the end of the videos, which gets guys like Bug all roiled up. Because when guys like Talker are getting more views and more interest and more support, it has to be very jarring for guys like Bug that sit there and go, these are people that are supposed to be hated. They're been told on the media, these people are absolutely hated. And how come they're having a great time? How come they're getting a lot of views? How come they're getting an awful lot of support? Well, I think, Bug, sometimes you need to look in the mirror. And as it stands as well, I think you've done a little bit of soul searching, I'm sure, after this stream. I mean, you went off and you made sure you could get out of town pretty quickly when I came to that stream. But I'm sure you did a bit of soul searching after. It was also nice, by the way, that Bug confirmed that his missus watches Talker Art. I thought that was an absolute W right there for Talker Art. He inadvertently did that. Anyway, it's great to see a guy in a community like this, a toy community that's like Talker. Is a dude. He's an actual man. He's not an effeminate little fella, that's afraid of a bit of critiquing, a bit of commentary. I think it's a good thing that Talker is around, and I hope that he stays around. Fair play to him anyway. Big Talker W on this. Shout out to Talker Art. You're an absolute G. We're going to miss you for however long you're going to be gone off YouTube, but do come back soon. Absolute G. Don't leave us with two guys like this. Please don't do that. That's not necessary. And we need someone that's decent around the community nowadays. We need a bit of a laugh. We need people to keep poking at these people and say, hey, your dude's running the show. Action figures are more expensive now than they ever were beforehand, and you're trying to shill for multi-million, will we even say billion-dollar companies that are looking to try and crowdfund, do silly things and take more money out of your pocket, your hard-earned money out of your pocket, and give you less quality. It is what it is, isn't it? Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Thanks very much to everyone that supports. It's absolutely wonderful to see so many people that support here on YouTube. I really appreciate everything that is done here and the community that has been built. I appreciate the fact that the toy community has grown the way it's grown. I can see people now starting to turn. They're starting to have a greater interest in what's actually going on in the world and are applying it to this here, and they're not taking any sort of nonsense from guys like Bug anymore. 5 years ago, last year, was it last year or the year before, I did a video as well too called Salty Legends, where they tried to cancel Talker Art, tried to get him wiped out. And myself and others came to YouTube and said, hang on here for a sec. You can't be talking about that guy like that. All he did was make jokes and you're trying to paint him all sorts of ways. No way. And not only that, these are noises that come out of people's faces, they do. Meanwhile, you've got Bug here threatening physical violence with a guy because he didn't like what he said. Didn't like the noises that came out of his face or the words that he typed on the internet. You know what I mean? Soft. Absolutely soft. Nice one. I'll talk to you later. Good luck.